we can start this up here and get our first guest on here tonight. And let's welcome vocalist Victor from, that's interesting what you guys call yourself, your Twisted Hardcore Outfit Eyes is what it says on the press release. So what's going on, Victor? How you doing? Thanks for coming. You're coming to us from Copenhagen. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, I mean, first off, before, thanks for coming on. I know it's really late there in Denmark.
Late, yeah.
Yeah, man. So appreciate you, staying up and coming on with us today. First off, just, quickly, how are you, and the rest of the band doing with the pandemic over there in Denmark, both, personally and musically? I mean, is there any positive movement in terms of when you might see possibly live music returning, and maybe in the next 6 months or so? Any movement going on over there?
Yeah, definitely. Like we are actually starting to have some shows around, but it's all seated shows with heavy restrictions. But it's better than nothing, I guess. Like smaller venues are still not going to be a thing for at least the next 6 months or so. But like larger venues are starting to reach out to more local, smaller bands. And doing shows, and it's pretty fucking great. There's a lot of backup in like the whole music scene and the industry around just bands getting out.
Okay, great. No, it's great news, man. I mean, it sounds like it's getting, we got some of the same stuff over here with some of those drive-in shows, but other than that, we're not seeing much movement just yet. So I'm glad to see that at least other parts of the world there is some movement. Once again, let's talk about Eyes and your guys' debut full-length record, Underperformer. I mean, man, what a loud, in-your-face, gut punch of a record this is, man. I mean, me and Chris here really both dig this record. And I keep reading how you guys are being compared to, a blend of like, bands like Daughters and Converge, which I could totally hear and I get, absolutely. But, you guys, your approach reminds me of a band like, like a band like Unsane, one of these, great noise rock bands that came out of the 90s there on Amphetamine Reptile Records back in the 90s. I mean, even the album cover looks like it's kind of right out of that noise rock sort of genre. What were, just to get some of your background, you guys' background as a band, what are some of the bands and artists that influenced you to want to create, this type of music and sound? Because it really is, unique, and you don't hear too much of, that kind of sound in most of the metal circles out there.
I think it actually stemmed a lot from, us wanting to get away from a former band. Like all of us used to play in a band called Hexes.
Okay.
You guys know that? It's like a blackened hardcore band. But it's like our first record or first EP had that really like blackened tinge to it. Sure. And we kept getting compared back to what Hexes did. And we wanted to like move away from that and like get into our own. And like all of us listen to a lot to Idols and also Unsane and Nothing and stuff like that. And it just kind of, we started the writing process and kept throwing shit out, and it was just like, this isn't the direction we want to go. And then just one song, the song that became Distance, our first single, it kind of cemented it, and then we just rolled from there, and it kept on going.
Oh, very cool, man. Very cool. Well, on Underperformer, I did notice it, like you just kind of mentioned, it definitely has a bit more, I would say, groove to it than the EP did, that you guys put out a few years ago, right? Yeah. I mean, and like it says in the press release, it is definitely a little bit less brutal, because that EP was brutal. That was pretty much the perfect word for that EP. But still really brutal, obviously. Just maybe a little less aggressive. But was the purpose on this record to slow things down? Like, I know you said you wanted to kind of get away from that blackening sound, but was it to kind of maybe just groove it and slow it a bit down in order for the listeners to sort of be able to maybe digest the songs a bit more rather than being, overwhelmed with all that brutality, pretty much?
Nah, not really.
Oh, no? Okay.
Like, it's literally just like the music we wanted to create. It's just like we're such a democratic band in a way, where like everyone has to say, everything is made in the practice space, like even lyrics. And so it's just all on the spot, and it's just what it came out to be. Like our next record might sound completely different on just a whim,
Okay. Very cool.
Now, Victor, trying as somebody that is, as I told you before we started, as somebody that is a field musician, and part of the reason I know I'm a field musician is because I think in 4/4 time, standard song structure, which clearly you don't think that way. How do you write music that you guys as a band all understand? Because I could certainly see where you might have these ideas to do this and your guitar player just won't get it because it's so outside of the box. Do you guys have trouble putting it together, or does it all just sort of work itself out in the jam room, or what?
Well, yeah, our songwriting process is a slow and tedious process. Like, this record has been on the way for 2 years.
Okay.
So it's like it's all trying and failing and trying and failing. And I think especially me, I have a lot of influences from a lot of mathcore bands, and also I do some other stuff with more mathcore influenced. But yeah, it's really the whole thing you're talking about, it being like really complex, and we also got a lot of like those comparisons, and I don't really see it. For me, like, this record is pretty straightforward, and it's just blasting away. So I don't know.
Yeah, what you're doing, and Matt and I might have a little bit of a different taste on it. I mean, I certainly understand the comparisons to like a Converge or an Unsane or whatever, but I think listening to the scope of the whole record, Underperformer, to me, not in sound, but more in the kind of development of song to song or listening, reminded me a lot of the Mike Patton stuff, of the like a Mr. Bungle or a Tomahawk type of a thing. Again, not in style, but in that it doesn't follow a pattern from song to song to song, that it kind of, you hear a song and then you go to the next song and it could be so different that it doesn't, it's jarring. It's, it's like being in a car and getting in a car crash, and the minute you get out of the car, getting hit by another car. It really just doesn't follow any kind of a standard. I have a feeling that's somewhat purposeful, is it?
Yeah, it's definitely on purpose, because as again, like, we were really stuck in a structure of writing songs in a particular way, and so every time we would have finished a song, we were just like, okay, next one, we got to do something completely different, and then just try something else and see where it goes. And as I said, trying and failing. I think if we had, like, we like to, start a song and then actually finish it. If it doesn't go anywhere, we'll just scrap it. Right. If we had written like all the songs we started, we would probably have ended out with about 40 to 45 tracks or something. So a lot of stuff has been scrapped along the way.
Sure. Do you find that you end up do you find that you end up starting things on riffs, and then when it doesn't work out, do you keep the riff, or do you scrap the whole thing and move completely on?
We might take like small ideas or details. We do a lot of the like the dumb riffs, the wow guitar riffs. So we might take a lot of those ideas and carry them over. But yeah, it's pretty much all scrapped.
Oh, very cool. Well, Victor, I mean, going back to just something I noticed that caught my eye in the press release, and I'll quote it here. It was talking about Underperformer, about the record. It says it's 10 songs showcasing a unique talent for injecting new life into hardcore, with a disregard for misuse of the genre's many strains and traits through focused original songwriting. So in essence, what that tells me, and tell me if I'm right or wrong here, but it sounds like, your aim with your sound in a way was sort of also to intentionally, mash up all the different subgenres within the hardcore, realm, I guess, to create what we hear on Underperformer. Because, in my opinion, I mean, due to the mixing of all those strains, in the end, it really doesn't sound much then like hardcore at all. At least to me, it doesn't. So is that accurate, or am I kind of way off on that assessment, in your opinion?
It's pretty accurate, but the whole motivation for it is pretty much a fuck you to the Copenhagen hardcore scene.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Like we fucking love this. Like the Copenhagen hardcore scene is fucking awesome. It's really small and really close, but we just wanted to, there's been, it gets, how can I describe this without pissing off everybody? But it's just gotten to a point where a lot of records have a lot of the same ideas and same aesthetics, same kind of riffs, same kind of influences, and we just wanted to get away from that and like try to stand a bit on our own again, like get away from that blackened sound, because that's really what's cooking here in Copenhagen a lot. There's fucking, I don't know, 10 new black metal bands every week at the moment.
Sure. Well, what's been the reaction within the hardcore scene there in Copenhagen with your band, especially when you came out with the EP a few years ago? I mean, were they kind of like, you guys aren't, because hardcore. Listen, I mean, the hardcore scene is kind of like that here in the States too. It's pretty, it's not very open minded. Let's put it that way. There's usually a way you do things, and if you go outside those bounds, you're kind of like pushed to the side or shoved to the side. Is that sort of the same way it is in the Copenhagen scene, or no?
No, I wouldn't say so. It's also because it's so small. Like I think audience-wise, along with bands, we're probably max 200 people.
Okay.
So it's and it's really like it's probably the most inclusive scene around in Denmark. But it's so unknown. But the reaction for the EP was really, really great, and all of us have been in a lot of bands before, so also people know who we are, and we come out with this stuff and got a lot of shows and a lot of hype going on from the first EP. But the reaction to the full length has just been completely overwhelming. Also because it's going outside the bounds of the hardcore scene and a lot into like the broader metal scene and even like the fucking hipster magazines. I think it might be the cover art.
Yeah. Yeah. Could be, man. Well, I also really like the lyrical content and the overall, theme of the record, which is essentially it's about the role of becoming an adult and how shitty it can be when you feel like you're working your ass off and you're not getting anywhere, which explains the title Underperformer. And I think that's something that many, many people can, including myself, can either currently relate to, or at least in the past at one point in their life have been able to relate to. So talk to us a bit about the lyrical content on the record as it relates to yourself personally, because it is very deep and intuitive. And in order to, conceive of these ideas, I mean, the person writing them, obviously you have to have some sort of a personal connection to them when, you're dealing with one's own, self-reflection and self-doubt and how they, pretty much judge themselves.
Yeah. Well, it really is. Yeah, of course, it's from my own personal experience. But it really stems down to this might be really fucking deep, but it's like it stems from the societal structure we have here in Scandinavia. Of course, we have free education, but it also puts a lot of pressure on you to actually get that education. If you don't really follow the societal rules, you are often discarded as, a failure or being useless. Like you shop around for whatever you want. And with free education comes option paralysis. And a lot of people my age, a lot of friends I have around, don't know what they want to do, because like you have all the options in the world. And of course that's really privileged, but if you can't find a head or a tail in that, it's a fucking mess. And I don't know if you guys heard about it, but there was this thing that Denmark was like the happiest country in the world and a couple of years back. And
I did remember hearing that. Yeah.
yeah, and but we're also the nation that has the most use of antidepressants per capita. And I think also because of this societal structure with both education and work culture, there's a lot of stress and anxiety in our society. And it's just all based on that. Like I'm 27. I'm currently doing my bachelor's degree, and finally like doing my bachelor's degree. But yeah, I don't know where I'm heading with this, but
I get the main. No, I get the main idea, man. I totally understand. Yeah, and I think you kind of, obviously what you were just telling us, you probably obviously touched upon, obviously in the video for Underperformer, which has got to be. I mean, it's a really cool, interesting video, man. It's got to be the most though, very self-loathing and self-defeating sort of pieces of film I've ever seen, man. But at the same time, it's got this humor to it as well. So it's sort of like contrast and stuff, which I think is really unique and very creative at the least, man. So explain a bit about how you came up with the concept for that video, for the title track, because like I said, it's like humorous and sort of, sad in a way at the same time,
Yeah. So like, actually this video it was made on a whim, pretty much.
Okay.
We had a deadline from our label. Like it was a pretty forgiving deadline, but there was 1 week left, and we were like, "Fuck, we got to make the video." And I was like, "Okay, are you guys free on Sunday? Let's meet up on Sunday and just film some shit with some iPhones." And then I just got the files and started editing it, like in whatever order I could find, and just trying to make sense of it. So like the narrative of it, like we had like this loose idea, and then it just came about as I was editing it. But it is like the whole idea of just doing really simple stuff and just being really bad at it.
Nice. Victor, you mentioned how true to life a lot of this stuff is, and you obviously told us, in a lot of detail how true to your life it is. How comfortable is that for you to put it out there? And I mean, certainly people are going to have to really dig in to listen to get it, but is it comfortable putting that much of your non-rock guy stuff out into the public forum so that, average people that you don't know can come up to you and say, "Hey, aren't you the guy that says whatever it is?"
Well, yeah, I think it's pretty comfortable. It's like it's a position I have, and I think it's an important issue in like our culture, in Scandinavian culture. Sure. And as I said, of course, I know it's a really privileged problem to have for our society, but it doesn't make it any less true that this is a real thing.
Sure.
So yeah.
Very, very good. Well, Victor, the new release is called Underperformer. It's out now, right? It came out in September, right? End of September
25th.
And how has it been received? In fact, not only how has it been received, because I know the standard answer is, "Oh, it's great," blah 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 blah. But how did you expect it to be received? Because it is so challenging, musically. How did you expect it to be received, and then how was it received compared to what you were expecting?
Yeah, we were expecting it to be received pretty well. We have been and personally, I've been really proud of what we've made, but we would have never guessed that it would actually, go outside from just like hardcore metal circles. It's probably not reached that in like critical mass in like outside of Denmark, but here in Denmark, we've gotten coverage by like the biggest Nordic music publication, and just them picking up on that, it's just kind of fucking weird. Like all the hipster magazines, like talking about a fucking hardcore band, and but it's been great. It's really been great, and super proud of it.
Awesome, man. Well, as we said, the name of the record is Underperformer. It is Eyes. You can check them out on Facebook. In the scroll, you'll see it's facebook.com/eyesbandcph. There you go.
There you go.
and Victor, man, thanks so much for taking a little bit of time and sharing about Eyes, man. Definitely cool having you on, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for staying up late too and coming on.
No kidding.
I'm gonna go straight to bed.
Or get to sleep, man. Yeah.
Are you gonna be able to go to sleep now, or do you drink too much coffee?
Time will tell. Probably not.
All right, brother, man.
All right, Victor, man. Take care, bud.
Thanks. Bye.
Take care, bud. Take care, bud. All right. Thanks for listening to Aftershocks. For more episodes, go to our website at www.aftershockspodcast.com. Visit us on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter pages for more news and information on the podcast. And be sure to subscribe, listen to, and review all episodes on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other podcast platforms. For your music listening pleasure, visit our website or go to www.shockwavesradio.com. For all comments and questions, please email us at info@aftershockspodcast.com.